Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Marc Márquez extended his extraordinary 2025 sprint run with victory in the Austrian Sprint, but the Ducati star conceded his win may have hinged on a late mistake by his brother Alex Marquez. The result keeps Marquez's rampage rolling and raises fresh questions about how much his advantage depends on small moments rather than outright dominance on every lap. Alex Marquez arrived at the Red Bull Ring with modest expectations, openly admitting Austria isn't the friendliest track for him. Yet when the lights went out in Saturday's sprint, the Gresini Ducati rider defied his own caution, blasting into the lead and holding it for over half the race. Only a single slip at turn 2B opened the door for his brother Marc, who went on to take yet another sprint win. Despite the sting of losing from the front, Alex emerged from Spielberg upbeat. Second place felt like progress, and he now carries confidence into Sunday's full-distance challenge. Pedro Acosta arrived at the Red Bull Ring with momentum, and left with more. The KTM rookie extended his podium streak to 3 in a row after a composed charge in Saturday's Austrian Sprint, turning a tricky weekend into proof that upgrades and confidence are paying off. From a frustrating late qualifying slide to a calm, mature ride through the pack, Acosta showed the blend of speed and race craft that has begun to define his maiden MotoGP season. What began as a promising weekend for Ducati's Bagnaia at the Red Bull Ring unraveled into a technical nightmare in Saturday's sprint. After a strong qualifying third, Bagnaia suffered massive wheel spin off the line, violent vibration on the straights and ultimately retirement, a sequence he now blames on a rear soft tire that didn't work properly and was completely finished after just 3 laps. With Michelin yet to offer a full explanation, the Italian and his team are left searching for answers ahead of Sunday's Grand Prix. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Starting from 4th on the grid after a qualifying crash left him on the back foot, Marquez worked his way forward and ultimately crossed the line 1.180s clear to claim his 12th sprint victory of the season, and his 6th in succession. Alex Marquez led the race for the opening 9 laps, with Marc shadowing him before using the slipstream into turn 3 to take the lead on lap 10. The pattern of the race was simple. Alex controlled long stints out front, while Marc picked his moment and capitalized when the chance came. Immediately after the race, Marquez was refreshingly candid. He acknowledged his own suboptimal starting position, the aftermath of a qualifying crash, and admitted he didn't feel outright faster than Alex during the sprint. Instead, Marquez said he spent much of the race following and waiting for an opening rather than dominating from the outset. "I was not faster than him, or I was not fast enough to overtake him. So, I decided to follow him. He did that small mistake on turn 2B, and without that mistake I don't know if it was possible to overtake him." Alex Marquez's late mistake exiting turn 2 was the decisive incident. Up to that point he had defended strongly and looked capable of fending off his teammates' advances. The small error allowed Marc to get alongside and complete the pass into turn 3, a classic opportunistic move in slipstream-heavy sprint trim. It's the sort of tiny lapse that shows how close these races can be. One missed line, or a slightly loose exit, and the window opens for the rider behind. The win stretched Marc Márquez's championship buffer to 123 points over Alex, and underlined his season-long ability to turn opportunity into results. Yet the admission that he may not have been outright quicker underlines an important nuance. Even when his form looks impregnable, Marquez sometimes needs the smallest of openings to convert strong races into victories. That pragmatic streak, waiting, measuring and striking, is part of what has made his season so relentless. With Sunday's longer race looming, Marquez cautioned that the weekend remains open. He singled out Bagnaia, who retired from the sprint with an issue, and pole sitter Marco Bezzecchi has real threats over race distance, noting both showed strong race pace in practice. He also flagged Alex's long lap penalty, which will complicate any repeat of Saturday's front-running for the Gresini rider. I expect Marco Bezzecchi and Pecco to be super strong because in the race pace they were super fast. We wait for a dry race. If it's wet, try to understand the feeling and finish the race. Marc Márquez's sprint victory in Austria keeps the headlines rolling, but his frank post-race take reminds paddock observers that his sequence of wins is not always a one-man steamroller. Sometimes it's patience and tiny splits that make the difference. Sunday's Grand Prix promises a sterner test, longer run, different strategies and rivals who prove they can threaten over race distance. If Marquez wants to keep the momentum, he'll need more than opportunism. He'll need to answer the pace questions he himself highlighted. Lining up second on the grid, Marquez nailed his start, beating pole sitter Marco Bezzecchi and leaving Francesco Bagnaia's wheel spin behind. With clear air, he quickly settled into a rhythm, using fresh tires to stretch a small but controlled gap. I tried just to make a good start. I was able to push from the beginning. I had a great feeling with the new tires, and I was able to feel good on the bike. For a rider who had written off Austria as a Ducati stronghold for others, Alex looked perfectly at home out front. On lap 9, with Marc Márquez closing in, Alex made the only error of his race. Running slightly wide at turn 2B after a sharper throttle input, the bike twitched, enough to let his brother pounce. I did just one mistake during all the sprint, and it was in corner 2B. I lost a little bit the front, went a little wide, opened the gas too sharp, and then I heard Marc's bike on the right-hand side. I said, okay, he's here again. In a season where margins are razor-thin, one misstep can swing a result from victory to runner-up, a lesson Alex knows all too well. Marc Márquez's 12th sprint win of the year was no surprise, but for Alex the frustration was balanced by pride. To lead more than half the distance, and to do so with speed equal to the Red Army of factory Ducatis, was proof his camp is finding consistency. The Marquez brothers fighting at the front gave Austria another family subplot, one where Marc still has the upper hand, but Alex is edging closer. Instead of dwelling on what slipped away, Alex framed the result as validation. Coming into the weekend, he would have signed immediately for second, given the circuit's reputation and the strength of Bagnaia and Bezzecchi. Honestly, before the sprint, if you said to me you will be second, I would sign because here it looked like the red Ducatis were faster than us. Also, we are really equal to Pedro, to Bezzecchi, so really happy with this second. It was the right blend of realism and ambition, recognizing progress while keeping expectations grounded. For Alex, the sprint was only half the story. He stressed that the most important thing is still the main race, where tire management, setup stability, and resilience will all be tested over full distance. But the most important thing is Sunday, so we will try again. With renewed confidence and a Ducati that looks sharp off the line, Alex has given himself the best springboard possible for Austria's main event. A single misjudged throttle robbed Alex Marquez of a sprint win, but the bigger picture is brighter than the scoreboard suggests. He led, he controlled, and he showed he can fight on tracks that don't naturally suit him. For Gresini and for Alex himself, that's a step forward. If he can turn Saturday's near miss into Sunday's strength, Spielberg could yet mark a turning point in his season. Acosta threatened pole until a big front-end slide at the final corner pushed him down the order and left him 7th on the grid. Rather than panic, he used the start to claw places back, up to 4th by the end of the opening lap, and then methodically picked off rivals. It was a really tough beginning of the season for us. And now that the upgrades and the results are coming, we just need to enjoy, don't think too much. The new KTM fairing, credited with enhanced turning, clearly suited Acosta's style. It allowed sharper direction changes and helped him manage mid-race pace, especially through Spielberg's stop-start corners. The bike's newfound agility was a big factor in his forward moves. After a strong opening lap, Acosta matched pace with the leading Ducatis for stretches and spent the closing laps defending from Marco Bezzecchi to secure third. He emphasized race management over fireworks, a sign of maturity that will serve him across full-distance Grand Prix. We managed the race in the best way. It was long, but much better than last year. I remember last year I was suffering even to be in the top 10. Turning raw speed into consistent racekraft is the next step for Acosta, and he's making it look deliberate. Acosta crossed the line 3.126s behind winner Marc Márquez and roughly 2 seconds behind Alex Marquez in second. The gap shows there's still a step to close to the very front, but compared with last year he was a full 17 seconds faster in the sprint, a dramatic year-on-year leap. Rather than overanalyze, Acosta urged the team to savor progress. His message was simple: enjoy the run, keep building, and avoid paralysis by analysis. That balanced mindset, celebrating gains while keeping ambition alive, is a hallmark of riders who sustain growth through a long season. Now we find this consistency, also this confidence, that maybe was missing a bit. We only have to see how bad we was at beginning of the season. For this, let's enjoy the result. Confidence and calm can be as valuable as lap time when the season grinds on. Acosta flagged the importance of the launch for the Grand Prix. Recent good starts give him a realistic plan for Sunday, where full-distance tire life and race strategy will matter more than in the sprint. He and the KTM crew want to match the red lights with clutch precision and convert sprint momentum into a stronger main race result. Pedro Acosta's Spielberg sprint was more than another trophy on the mantle. It was confirmation. The upgrades are working, his racekraft is evolving, and his head is in the right place, enjoying the moment without losing the long-term lens. 5 points clear of where he stood earlier in the year, and just behind the championship scrap, Acosta's calm celebration in Austria could be the foundation for a very confident second half of 2025. Bagnaia looked competitive through qualifying, but the sprint start exposed a problem. Heavy rear wheel spin dropped him from 3rd to 14th immediately. What should have been a bold charge quickly became a damage limitation exercise. I started super bad. Already on the warm-up lap I felt something strange on the rear tire, and when I started, the rear was spinning a lot. A poor getaway on a power circuit like the Red Bull Ring can be race-defining, but in Bagnaia's case it was only the first symptom of a deeper issue. Bagnaia says the rear soft tire degraded dramatically, effectively, finished, after 3 laps, which led to violent shaking down the straights and erratic bike behavior. That created a dangerous situation and eroded braking performance. After 3 laps I completely finished the rear tire, and then I started to shake a lot on the straights. Sudden tire degradation at sprint pace is unusual and leaves teams scrambling to understand whether it was a construction fault, pressure issue, or an anomaly on the day. The vibrations were severe enough to cause pad knockback on the front brakes. Bagnaia reported arriving at turn 1 effectively without usable front braking and was forced to stop for safety reasons. The on-track visuals, a GP25 visibly shaking on the straights, matched the rider's Stark account. I had to stop because I arrived to the first corner without a front brake because of the shaking. So, honestly, nothing worked during the sprint. When braking integrity is compromised, retirement is the only responsible call, for rider safety and to preserve the machine. Bagnaia said Michelin had not yet explained the failure at the time he spoke to the media. He's called for collaboration to find the root cause and prevent a repeat, referencing a similar tire-related compromise at last year's Emilia-Romagna GP. I'm just waiting for Michelin to explain to me what really happened. But working together will help us to improve. Tire anomalies demand fast technical follow-up. Until Michelin and Ducati isolate the trigger, questions over reliability will linger. Despite the sprint disaster, Bagnaia has shown competitive pace all weekend and remains a leading threat for the Grand Prix, if the tire problem was an isolated incident. Teammate Marc Márquez has flagged Bagnaia as a serious contender, underscoring how quickly fortunes can swing in Spielberg. The challenge now is mechanical clarity, fix the fault, restore confidence, and Bagnaia can resume his bid at the front. What looked like a routine sprint turned into a technical red flag for Ducati and Michelin. Bagnaia's blunt diagnosis, A rear tire that didn't work properly and was completely finished after 3 laps raises uncomfortable questions that demand quick answers. If the issue is resolved, the Italian will be back among the favorites on Sunday. If not, the controversy could overshadow what had been a strong weekend pace-wise. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!